Hello, you folks out there. How's it going?
Hello, everybody.
I assume things have been cool this time of day. Yesterday was very hot, and
It's,
today it was pretty chill.
have I been to this place? I know that place should have a thing on it.
Hmm.
Looking for shrines.
Pretty much, that's what the goal is right now, right? Oh, and
Yes.
one more for heart too. Pretty cool. And who do we have? It's the burb.
Hello. I was not watching the time.
Dare you? Close as the beast. Give me just a quick sec.
Ah, traveler, have you heard of the kingdom?
Doot, 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 doot.
I was watching a video earlier this afternoon that was talking about the musical theory stuff in Tales of the Kingdom. And they were talking about how there are 3 musical characters in this game. One of them is the piano, which serves a very similar purpose to how it did in Breath of the Wild, where it's kind of like your sole companion when you're alone. Um, then the second one was reverse choir. So like when you do stuff that's related to Ganondorf, or you go to the end of the shrines or anything, you have these choir samples that are reversed, or at least they sound like they're reversed. And then the third one is, of course, alto saxophone.
Yes.
Holy gabadooli, does this game love its saxophone. And I love this game's saxophone. Flo says maybe I shouldn't be talking about eating wings with Miller around. Nah, I love chicken and turkey and duck and stuff. I'm a peregrine falcon. Literally, peregrine falcons eat other birds. They eat seagulls and pelicans. Like, that's their natural diet. It's not cannibalism if it's a different species. You wouldn't call eating an orangutan cannibalism.
Okay, I guess I need to just turn it.
Arcus, I'm gonna ask you to chill out there. What does Fred Rito taste like, though? Okay. There's a difference when you're talking about sentient creatures. Or sapient, whichever one's higher. I always forget. So we don't call it fried Rito, it's called Longbird.
Just a few more seconds, right back.
Now chat says I've eaten Cass. That's where he went. Chat, what the hell?
Chat, are you behaving?
Chat never behaves. Are you kidding me? Chat is the torment nexus. Races, didn't you go into detail about falcons preying on other birds, Miller? Yes, for like a real peregrine falcon. But Ritos eat like fish and mushrooms. Marcus Fellow says, I blame Miller. He goes to chat. I do. Okay, yeah, I do. Look, it's called chat engagement, alright? There is a dollar amount for every word I say to chat. Final Fan cheers 1 bit and says, did you know certain birds actually have nests near falcon nests and have the falcons protect their nests from other predators? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of like nest parasitism. Is it the warbler? Which one is the bird that like eats the eggs of another bird and then puts their own eggs in the other bird's nest in order for the other bird to raise their kids?
Oh, it's a mockingbird.
Princess Miller, are you saying you were adopted? No! You've been on the Discord. You've seen what Jonas sketched up Miller's father to look like. Okay, so mockingbirds are the prey in this thing. It's cowbirds are the ones that eat mockingbird eggs and then put cowbird eggs in the mockingbird nest.
Okay.
Miller was adopted by a couple of Wind Wakeritos. Oh, I was gonna go look back at your stream for when you looked at the map in order to start just like ticking off what shrines you have or don't have. I think most of the ones you still need are pretty obvious. There's a lot in the sky still.
Alright, sorry about that. Pick the hot chocolate just to make sure I don't run away again.
Would Miller eat cuckoos? What would happen if you ate a cuckoo? I mean, cuckoos are usually just chickens, right?
I'm surprised the chat's not asking me why wouldn't I eat a cuckoo.
I'm trying to think of what those weird ass things from Twilight Princess were that were like the cuckoos that could talk. Final Fan says, I was meaning to ask, did you ever find the Hylian shield?
I don't think I have.
No, I don't think you have either.
I have been to this, haven't I?
I don't think so. This whole thing, I don't know why this is here. I don't know why it's so meticulously designed and yet has no relation to anything. There's no quest for it. There's no anything for it. You just come across it in your exploration.
I'm gonna go up first. Took a bunch of effort to get this high.
Yeah, fair. It's just there to look ominously cool, says Frederick. That's purpose enough. For the Zonai, I guess it is. I'll tell you right now, you want to do the thing at the bottom, and it'll give you a path up to the top.
Yeah, okay.
It's a platform on the north side, I think, where you can land. So Dosiana says, anywho, this reminds me, what happened to Rivali's Gay and all the other powers? Did they move on with their ghosts or something? Yeah, that literally happened at the end of Breath of the Wild, is that all of their ghosts disappeared. They moved on.
Hmm.
Assumably, they took their powers with them as well. Everyone died. The end. Except that's the start. Everyone died. Now begin the game. Everyone died except Link or Zelda. Now the game starts. Marcus Fellow says, don't do sages, kids, or you go to hell before you die.
Hmm.
Whatever you do, don't smoke that oregano. Bum bum ba da da bum bum bum. Oh wait, that's Metal Gear. No, what's Mission Impossible?
I was gonna say.
I don't remember the leitmotif for Mission Impossible.
Dun 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 dun.
You know what? I'm ashamed I didn't remember that either. You and Miller are too much gamers. Dun 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 dun.
No, let me in.
Nope. Door shut. Door shut. Genuine complaint. Doors shut.
Yeah, okay.
Sir, set my fast with your lungs, sir.
You just go really fast when you dive in here.
I think when you do the like when you do the face first dive, you ignore the wind. Do it through the first couple, but that last one's a little tricky. Uh. Hey! That
No.
works. No!
It's the wrong button. I have a dive button.
Yeah, this is pretty much Mission Impossible for Link.
Beastslay, yeah, I know you're talking about the flux cord cars.
There you go.
Oh, it's water.
Hey, finally. Jansamin Shrine.
That's not even a blessing.
Nope. Yeah, now that you say it, now I'm like looking back at these. Yeah, it is kind of random which ones are blessings and which ones aren't. You think this one had a whole thing built around the outside of it, so it would be a blessing.
Proving
But...
grounds, low gravity. What about proving grounds just fuck shit up?
I mean, that was that one proving grounds. Where it was it one where you built a car and that was like the only way to deal damage was to like roadkill the enemies? Rocket spear, rocket spear, rocket spear.
I guess it uses some rocket power to thrust.
And oh boy, do it thrust. Nope. Oh no.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, you got a beamer there in the center.
Yeah. You get rid of these guys.
And Rick fall down.
Now, beam emitter.
Oh, thank goodness you got him quickly. I think he was about to fuse an explosive barrel to his sword.
That guy died. Okay. Um. Ow. Think you act so awkwardly here.
Why am I seeing Rubut on stream? It's not Rubut, it's the goods. This form is called Show Me the Goods. Look at those goods. Look at those beans.
What beans? All I see are feet. Okay. Well, in this case, he's
Flo says,
defeated.
so, the weather? Did you catch up on latest insert sports game here? One more.
Huzzah.
Omewa. Mo. Oh god.
It's fine.
That scene of Link going for the floor like that makes me think of him just squeezing through the little holes there.
Like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Just like him.
Whee!
Alright, you got 5 in your pockets. You should be at what, 141? Yep. Only 11 more to go. Basic human decency redeemed Boop Rick. Wow. Now everyone has to boop Rick or else you're not a basic decent human.
What? Absurd.
Everyone get your boops in if you want to be decent.
Yeah, but you be booping the feet. The feet of drink. Okay, fine. I will boop it.
Will you boop it?
I will boop it.
Will you boop
JC
it?
has booped it.
It booped it.
And someone whooped it.
Boop it! Pull it! Eat it! Bop it!
Think it, lick it, whip it.
God,
whip it.
where's the furry version of that? Where it's like a bop it, but it's shaped like a wolf snout, and you like bop the nose, and it's got like an ear you can yank.
That sounds like something that the wolves outside would have drawn. Okay. Is there anything else in here?
I think there's a chest somewhere in here, but I don't remember if there is one. If there is, you might need to like track chests in order to find it. Okay.
It's in there.
You gotta ascend into there somehow.
I think I can do it in this. Yeah.
The Zonite Waistguard.
Yay!
Yay!
Okay.
Alright. I can already see one, yeah,
Alright, there you
west
go
of you
there.
at that cross thing.
I can probably just fly over there from the top of here.
Yeah. This one's pretty good just because it's so high up. It's like a place to do some sky exploring from. Okay, I was about to say, are you really about to go the whole way? Without even looking, you just magically get it.
Wow, Rick. Man, this is sure a good flight.
Ashley says, congrats, you found one of the piece of the best armors, high defense, and reduces the amount of charge you use when using Zonite devices. You can always put a beacon on the map in order to help you navigate. Frederick says, but it looks bad. You take that back. I mean, the headpiece is not the greatest, but the rest of it looks fine.
All the way over there.
Yep, it's up in there. I think there's some vehicles around, though. Or you might be able to just launch yourself that far.
It will take me there. Question is getting back. Oh.
Construct heads. Delicious. Alex says if you use giant charges, you get a ludicrous amount of items. That's true, but
Giant
for me, at least, I
charges are
find
rare too.
they're rare and they're just so much more useful to completely refill your battery and give you infinite battery for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas the small charges give you like 1/3 of a battery each. It's so useless. And so your best use of them is to throw them in the gumball machines. Uh-oh.
Will this even get me there?
I don't think it's gonna get you. You might be okay. You might be able to land in that spire and then ascend up, because that's sometimes these spires are pristine and it's a lot harder. But this one's all cracked. And it'll have surfaces you can stand under and stuff.
Okay, let's see here. There.
Oh, come on, game. Give us an angle. There we go. Ashley says there's plenty of nearby machines you could have flown over with.
Eh.
Yeah.
There's also machines over here I can fly back with.
Yeah, there you go. Arcus says, why do the easy way when the hard way is right here?
But we're Link. We do everything the hard way. Destroy. Jeez, Link, you have to take me literally.
Anything else on this island?
There might be something on top.
Yeah, let's go this.
I think there might be like a Korok or something.
If when in doubt, go up.
Aha. That looks like a Korok.
What'd I tell you?
Where's stone? Where is stone?
This is the entire puzzle, is looking for a single rock on this island.
I think there's like a... I think there's like a plateau in the middle. It might be on top of that. Or it might be in that other tree stump. No?
Yeah, it is in the other tree stump.
Ah, I see. Ooh, hardy radish. The green leaves right behind you. Albedo says, can you find it with Ultra Hand since it highlights? No, not on the rocks that are embedded in the ground. They don't show up on Ultra Hand. Chests that are buried, you can, because there's no other way to pick them up. But rocks, you have to first pick them up by hand.
What are you doing, Link?
They want a slightly different design from you.
Not too bad.
Uh, doot, doot. Doot,
Treasure
doot, doot,
chest
doot.
nearby.
Awesome. Target Captain. Oh.
Crystal get.
Crystal, she's in Star Fox. Haru's blessing. Ooh.
Don't see any point in picking it up. Don't go through shields that much.
Maybe you should get on that. Deliberately break your shields, Rick.
I mean, fighting Lionel's broke my shields a lot.
Hmm.
It's a human disease. So have you eaten Zelda yet? Wow.
We have not consumed Zelda.
Is that
I think
even...
it says it's
I
up
mean,
there.
I guess you could technically use a like dragon scale to make dubious food and then eat that. But why?
Well, there is the Twilight Princess flower, wasn't it? Whee!
Do not make the forbidden
Down
like
below.
dragon bath water. Why? I mean, when you go to the different springs, you do have to offer a claw into the water. So, are you making dragon bath water in those cases?
Another old map. Ding.
More DLC costumes.
Okay, where am I going now?
Let's see here.
That
I'll
just
tell you right
looks
now,
like
that's...
an arena.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not a shrine, that's just an arena.
Plenty of arenas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Flux constructs and Gleox. Okay, I see one, I see two. There's one there, and there's also one on the west side. The thing that looks like a chunky island with a lake on it.
A chunky island with a lake on it.
Yeah, in the middle western sky where it says like Tabantha Archipelago.
Haven't I been up here?
Wait, what does Master Mode say?
Well, I flew over it.
Ashley says that island isn't a shrine, that's death. Is that a flight radar of the game? No, so it's a feature that was in Breath of the Wild called like Master Rewind mode or something. And it basically just records everywhere you've gone for the last 200-ish hours of gameplay. Every teleport you've done, every death you've had, every place you've walked. As we just did, it's good to use as a, like, wait, have I actually been there kind of thing, but also it's just useful to, like, look back on your journey and be like, wow, look at all these places I went to. Look at all these things I did. Oh, why did I die 6 times there in a row?
There a better way up there?
I mean, you've got low gravity. That
Yeah,
might
that
be
is
good
true.
enough.
Oh, let's try.
If it doesn't work out, you can always teleport back. Hot dig a dome.
Digadumder.
Gimme Turner!
Timmy Tom, Timmy Tom, Timmy Tom Tur.
That's right, Doug Divino. Remember the name sounds Divino.
Zimadom, Zimadom, Zimadom Berm. I like those apples, chat.
Oh, I saw Korok Acorn in the back of that big mirror.
Free fish.
Oh no! All the fish! You've killed them all!
Free fish. Gimme, 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 gimme.
It's the Link way of doing fishing, Miller. Oh,
No, the Link way of doing fishing is aggressively swimming through the water and just grabbing them with your bare hands.
Well, it just dawned on me. This is something Link did in A Link to the Past, too. Wow. Link's way of murdering fish to drain the swamps. So, to all of you boys and girls out there that make Zelda in the future and see Zelda or Link come right next to the swamps, you know you better watch out.
Oh,
I
no.
mean, to be fair, it's a pretty good haul from this island because there's a lot of the hardy baths.
Saja. Nearly
Oh,
down
there's
below.
fairies around here, too.
This is a very useful island.
Did you stop
He's
that?
trying to circle strafe you. He's trying to dodge your arrows. Bastard!
How dare he? How dare he use logic? I'm still surprised how weak that Topaz Lawn Blade is, even though it looks like a kick-ass. Also, don't forget Link's cold.
Finding new objective. Alright,
Very cold.
I'd say there was something else. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're all inside the island. Yunobo! Yunobo, you're on call. You don't get to disappear. Oh, this isn't normal darkness. This is advanced darkness.
There's a treasure chest over there.
Uh-huh.
Come on, big money, big money.
Hmm.
Oh. I guess that makes sense.
Damn it, it's not something cool. It's just a thing that makes sense in this place. There's definitely something going on here where it wants you to make some kind of a path. But where the hell does it go next? Ah.
So, night hut.
Oh! And there's the helmet.
Oh. We're getting right up there. Ooh. So, let's see. We got the helmet. I forget.
We got the
what-
helmet and we got the chest piece. I
So
don't
do
know
you
if
see
we have the legs or not.
I don't think we have the legs. But I'm guessing when we get to the end, we're going to use the zone light gear.
Ah, blinding light.
Oh, there's a staircase here.
There we go. Ga'ahisas Shrine. Ashley says the legs are contained in one of the floating spheres. I think it's the floating sphere that has the mirror puzzle that's like south of this place.
Didn't I do that one?
Yeah, I think you did. So go to your thing and then do sort by set.
I think I did pick it up. Yeah, I do have the legs.
Yeah, okay, there you go. You got a full set of that now.
Oh, excellent.
It just looks silly on him.
Wait, chat, you were saying this is what Minoru wears? This is not what Minoru wears. Minoru is basically wearing a virgin killer. Like, this is nowhere close.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look here. He's very cold. There's no chest piece, so that doesn't match Minoru. I mean, I guess there's the armbands.
The armbands are on all the Zonai theme set, and she doesn't wear those. She wears orange armbands.
Yeah, that doesn't look anything like what she wears.
No, that looks nothing like it. Like the three faces on the pelvis piece, like no, she has just like a sash.
Yeah,
No,
that's not what Minoru wears.
It looks nothing like what she wears. Chat, you're off your game. So if you use the right thumbstick, I think you scroll pages at a time. You can use it to go down quickly. Yeah.
Ashley says something can be the same style without matching exactly. Well, of course it's the same style.
They're both
Technically,
Zonite sets.
Rauru is wearing the same style.
Sonya is wearing the same style. Like,
Pointing at another chest somewhere.
Raru's wearing the charge set. Well, yes, more specifically, he is wearing the charge set. Which I don't know what that says, that the light sage wears the electricity themed set.
Oh boy.
That's one where you have to catch in midair. You've got the shrine, you can teleport back up.
Oh. There's a treasure chest nearby. Another one. Somewhere. Up above.
Aha. Huh. Alright. That's not worth the trek back. Fedark says there were some Hylian guards wearing Zonai stuff in some of the flashback cutscenes. I didn't check, but I'm curious if the clothing matches. No, because I think while the Zonai themselves wear very sort of Mesoamerican inspired things, I think a lot of the Hylians of the ancient Zonai kingdom
There we
wore
go.
more like Roman inspired things. Sandals, skirts, sashes, togas, that kind of stuff. Not togas, but loose white fabric.
Okay, get up there.
Okay, I'm looking back at the memories. They are wearing the ancient set you start the game off with, but they are also wearing this Zonai headdress with the like feather crown. That's what the Hylian guardsmen in the memories looked like.
Something very exciting is happening below me.
I think it's that the Arakuda has targeted you.
Hey, so where's that treasure chest? Yes, it's up there. It's facing the wrong way.
Also, it's not attached. Color me surprised this actually works.
And almost there.
I could have jumped off at almost any point.
That little diver might.
That's fine. I can climb.
Oh, okay. Price is heard it.
Yeah, I saw it. Hmm. Anything else around here? What is the secret of this island?
What is the secret? Oh, a little korak flower.
Oh,
Where'd he go, that little rapscallion?
everybody just stop blocking my view, please.
Yaha!
Yahoo! Wahoo!
I guess I have to go down to the island below.
Alright, I'm doing this because Shark didn't get enough love the first time it came around. Like, cool, awesome, I got the chest. Now, how the fuck do I get back up? Ah, okay, you've got... I see. Guess they just give you one pre-built.
Yeah, and then you can build another one, I guess, if you lose this one.
That's your punishment if you mismanage the first ones. You have to assemble the second one yourself.
Manually.
And don't let me get started on how SOL'd you are if you lose the second one.
Okay. It's pointing inside the island. Ah.
Yeah, I think it's the same you had before. It's
open on this side, okay.
yeah, it's a vine cave and it's gonna have a vehicle or parts for a vehicle inside.
Yep. I can see how the vines are here waiting to be chopped up.
Sarah Neverpaw says, "Good shark, happy smile, no notes." Says, "Resounding of a endorsement as I've ever heard."
There you go.
So what kind of parts they give you? I saw a control stick, fans, and batteries. So, sky raft?
Hmm.
Really don't even need the batteries. I have plenty.
Yeah, I think it's just there because the gameplay designers need to make sure you're able to actually accomplish these things without having gotten any battery upgrades. Uh-oh, I think your front end's caught.
Do I need anything else? I don't think so. Thing should lower its elevation when I go down. When I push forward.
That's a good question. I don't know that I do. You might end up just like getting this thing just in a position above the thing, and then taking one of these fans and turning it facing up. Actually, nah, it looks like it's almost all on level.
What do you guess? It does go slightly up.
Hmm.
Nuva, unless the stuff you're doing is fighting Gleox. Gleox are entirely voluntary.
Yeah.
Once it again.
Yes, you need to hydrate the shark.
You must keep it moist. All right, how many shrines do you have in the sky?
Uh, is a total 144.
I can see at least one you're missing.
I counted 31.
Yeah, there should be 32. You're missing one. More hearts, more hearts, more hearts. Chat, when Rick gets more hearts, that just means he can love you more.
Okay, so
I can give you a coordinate direct or a Cartesian direction if that'll help you.
okay.
East.
Feel all these I could hold. I guess I technically didn't get one on that island specifically, so.
Thank you, Zeroni MC, for all of the heart emotes. Your being overflows with vigor.
Hey, is that above?
I think that might be up.
Looked like it was below.
Talnuva says, "What's up with that
I guess
star-shaped
that
island?"
explains why I didn't actually get to it. There are a couple star-shaped islands.
Mm-hmm. I think you've explored a couple of them. Oh, I see. It's up, but it's level with like the top of the diving challenge.
Wow, okay. Don't just send me up there just because.
Might be time for a bike. Might be time for a bike ride. I'm trying to think where the Lanayru Sky Tower is from here.
Will that even get me high enough? The Nehru Sky Tower is right there. It's on top of the mountain. I guess I could see if it gets me high enough.
Might also be a thing where you can get to a slightly lower island from here and then have a vehicle that will then get you to that higher island.
If I get onto the Tower Island, I should be able to get to an elevation that gets me there.
You just start climbing up the diving challenge,
Yeah.
ascending through it and stuff.
Oh, we have these. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's a vehicle right there, already built for you. What the? Dev intended solutions. Incoming anti-air fire! Evade, evade! Oh, and there's just another one. God dang, that Demon King's bow is now getting up in damage, now that you have so many hearts. Woo!
That is a big bird. There's so many of these.
Yeah, this is just kind of how they decided to do the, like, Sky Island shrines. Which makes sense. You can't just, like, put it on a horse or something and walk it over. You have to actually get clever with the
Okay.
vehicle mechanics to transport it.
It's up there.
Whiz right past your ear. Beautiful landing, Mr. Griffin.
Indeedly do. Beat all those branches to the west. Shark west. Um,
Haha, Shark West, go nom.
um,
You could do the one with the crystal on it. It's not very often you get to auto battle the crystal and actually have one to put on it.
Oh no, I'm missing something.
Oh no, you're missing a fan.
I just take one out.
You have to. You don't even have a zone knight to
Yep.
actually do the regular autocomplete. Beastslay, what's your current goal? Our current goal is all shrines. Don't even know if you needed fans for that. You probably could have just glided down.
Probably. I'm assuming it will not let you reconstruct a crystal.
I think you can. It won't count for any of these shrines, but you can sure spend 3 zonite to make a piece of your vehicle that doesn't do anything.
I mean, those are usually some of the most useful things. Oh, I guess this one is actually not a blessing.
Yeah, I'm noticing it more and more. It is quite random. Beastslay says they're also going for all shrines. Nice. The reward for it's pretty cool. It's funny how far we've come from the plain stone glider and bouncing it by running from wingtip to wingtip. Yep.
It's facing the other way. Yep.
Well, now it's facing Norway. It's just like the barrel game in DRG.
Ah.
Oh, so close. Beastly, yeah. If you want to see all the forms that are available, you can use !! forms.
There we go.
There we go. Ooh, there's the solution, but then there's more. Ooh, it's angled, and it's off to the side. Not gonna get him this time.
They gave me a long piece this time.
No. Okay, doing it to the right of that piece that's sitting on the ramp is too far. Doing it to the right is too far to the right. You gotta like do it like right on top, yeah.
Almost.
So close. Just think it's slightly to the right of directly over the center.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
Oh, come on.
That counted.
Rick's like, that's counted. That went in the hoop. You saw. Everyone saw that went in.
Have you anyone
Frederick
said
says, would
otherwise?
stasis help? Oh, that would help. Because you send the ice down, and then when it's, like, at the right position, you rewind it, and then immediately cancel the rewind, and then it stops all of its momentum, and then just slides down onto it.
Perhaps.
But chat, you saw. You saw. We did that fair and square. Alright, don't be a narc. Yay! That's all the sky shrines.
Yay.
Awesome.
Philodosnia says, who would we narc to? Ayanuma, obviously. Everyone knows them personally, right? I mean, I've got them on my 3rd speed dial after my mother and father. Did he do the Yiga stuff? Yes. Yes, we've done all the Yiga stuff. We've gone to the hideout, we've gone to the training center, and we've chased Koga all around the depths.
Okay. There's some treasure hunting I can do down here. Let's get one that's easy.
Beastly says he got Earthquake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the most useful thing ever, but it's cool.
Hmm.
It's just a like, hey, the Yiga can do this, and I guess you can as well if you want to. It's not very powerful, but like, you get to do it, and that's cool. And that's fine. Oh yeah. Okay, so all of the oh god. So all of the mines have a treasure chest, as you've sussed out. Um, all of the groves also have a treasure chest. They have this particular, like, hollowed out tree trunk that then has a chest in the middle of it.
Tunic of the Sky.
Oh hey.
They have all these Zelda tunics.
All these random disparate tunics. Do you have any that match? Oh, you have Tunic of the Wind and Legs of the Wind. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, there's one up here.
Oh right. Arcus says they give you all this fashion and no way to wear it other than for selfies.
Hmm.
But what do you mean other ways to wear it? What, you want to be able to put the pants on your head? That doesn't make any sense. The Hebra Dark Skeleton. Yeah, so those Leviathan bones from Breath of the Wild. A, they're still here. B, there's another quest associated with them. And C, they also have a reflection in the depths. The Dark Skeletons.
Cap of the Wild.
That's the green tunic from Breath of the Wild. That's what you got for doing all shrines in Breath of the Wild, was the wild set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Hello.
It's
oh, Jonas.
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 I was not scheduled for tonight, but my thing finished early, so here I am. I'm making a cameo.
And here you are. Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing trash for you.
What?
You're also a little quiet to me.
Yeah, you're quiet.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
hold
actually a little
on.
quiet.
Is Windows doing the dumb thing again where it's dumb and stupid and bad? I bet it is. No,
Mhm.
my levels are normal. Hold on. Let me check something real quick. Device properties.
He says they got all light roots just so they could find all the shrines on the surface.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
one
that's what I did.
strategy.
Yeah.
All right. Here, let me just crank up the gain. Is this any better?
Yeah.
A little better.
Turn it up.
Okay. Oh, hang on.
Too hot.
That's
Too loud.
too high. It's doing something now. I don't know what the hell it's. That's weird. Like my sensitivity suddenly shot up.
I was like, oh yeah, I need to account for this part.
Well, is it okay where it is right now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right. Then I will just leave it alone. Maybe this. God, I mean, I bought the preamp used. Maybe it's starting to short out or something.
No, basic human decency. Gecko is not a transformation.
And Guana's pretty close.
Is it though?
They're both lizards.
Yeah, it's close enough for most people. Miller. Miller's getting all technical over here. I mean,
Look, man, I can't program it so anything matches to anything. All right, you gotta be specific with the prompt.
gotta.
Otherwise, how will the AI know?
Oh no. Oh my god, I just had the most horrible idea. A deep dream morph for
I don't even know
West
enough for that.
with the little faces and eyeballs and shit popping up everywhere. Just the total like rainbow colored nightmare fuel.
See, yeah, I was thinking like AI form, where you do have like a machine learning thing that is
Oh.
fed every single time Rick has ever drawn West to anything,
And West
and then
has like
every time you request the AI form, it recreates a new thing for the stream.
don't forget how like West has to be like he's holding like a purse or something and his fingers are like melting into the straps. You know.
I wonder how many times it would take before it creates a penis. Probably not too many.
Yeesh.
Phyllis says, "God, that sounds awful."
I googled deep dream nightmare fuel and now I'm regretting it forever.
Why would you go looking for a thing called nightmare fuel?
Because me.
I mean, if you were Stoker, I'd believe it, but you're not Stoker, you're Jonas.
No,
You don't have invulnerability to that effect.
I'm just as well. I mean, the funny thing is, like, I'm just as engaged with horror as he is. Although mine tends to be of a different variety. Like Stoker's like vampires, blah blah blah, and I'm more like reality bending, and and terrifying Matrix stuff. You know, that's my brand of horror.
Hmm.
I want to show you this, but I don't.
Do not. Jonas,
What?
did you ever see the movie Arrival? And if you have, would you call it a horror movie?
Well, now, okay. Are you talking about the Charlie Sheen one from the '90s called Arrival, or the recent one by Denis Villeneuve?
The recent one.
Yeah, I saw it. I would not call it horror. I would say more like
A procedural, maybe?
a procedure. It's sci-fi. It's sci-fi with a very specific tone to it.
Okay.
I mean, why did you take issue with it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just remember watching it and liking it and think it was kind of creepy. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
a year later, I read Slaughterhouse 5 for school, and I'm like, oh, that's where the plot came from. Or at least that's where the time bending stuff came from.
Yeah, the unstuck stuff. I mean, that's a couple people have played around with that. I mean, there was a whole like Babylon 5 subplot about that. Spoilers.
I watched Babylon 5, so yeah, okay.
That's right. I mean, you could even argue that movies like Groundhog Day are about, the same kind of unstuck in time kind of thing. Just, that was a more...
But in Groundhog Day, time is still linear.
Yeah. I mean,
Or at least time is
sort of.
perceived linearly.
Yeah. I mean, it did start to get like he started, well, also, hi, Ray. But I think it could have, Arrival could have veered into horror if things hadn't worked out well, I mean, that's generally like horror is often defined by like, there's an implicit sense of, okay, things are going really off the rails now to the point that perhaps it cannot be corrected. If there's still a chance, then it's, it's still in the territory of like other genres, right?
Right.
Horror either says you don't have a chance or you do have a chance, but getting through it's gonna suck because you have to put your hand in the the tentacle mouth or whatever.
Yeah.
As they say.
Archspell says Stoke is it's slutty horror. Yeah. And his definitions of what that constitutes can be interesting.
I don't think Arrival would be horror because it is too much like The Day the Earth Stood Still, and that's not technically horror either.
Yeah. I mean, there are horror elements. The aliens at times are horrific, and certainly the otherness of them is certainly felt profoundly. But yeah, I think ultimately the fact that things that she connects with them. Oh, I should probably be watching the stream, shouldn't I?
Oh, see. Oh, that's those.
What kind of zombies do you find scary the most? The slow ones. Slow is always more creepy than fast. Fast is scary because it's like, there's a fast thing. But slow gives you much more time to just let it all
The thing
soak
I always
in.
think of is just like slow zombies always feel like a thing that it's just like, we'll get through this. We'll be able to fight them off and beat them, and it's fine. It'll take some time, but we can do it. Like, we just walk away or like literally get in the back of a pickup truck.
Well, yeah,
and just slowly drive away from them at like 10 miles an hour.
As long as you have a means of escape or resources with which to deal with them. You'll notice that slow zombies are often coupled with closed-in situations, like being trapped in a mall or being trapped in a scary old house or, an abattoir or whatever.
Yeah.
I have
things like The Walking Dead, where it's usually human versus human is your biggest problem, not human versus zombie. That's almost like a secondary issue.
Well,
okay, so it's those alphas.
the way I always looked at it, because I watched Resident Evil and Walking Dead and all that, the slower zombie thing for me is always more effective, in my opinion, because the slow death kind of aspect, and zombies are a lot harder to kill when you don't know their obvious weaknesses. Throwing the fact that a lot of zombie shows that just don't do the smart thing and hit them in the head, well, then yeah, you have problems.
With fast zombies, you have to improvise a plan, and you don't feel so bad about the improvised plan didn't work because you improvised it. With slow zombies, it's like, I've got a plan. Oh, that didn't work. They're still slowly lurching to us. Oh, plan B also didn't work. They're still slowly lurching to us. Plan C might work, but we're sort of losing faith in it at this point,
Well, they can climb on the ceiling. You're fine. Zombies can't climb. Well, except for the fast zombies. Fast zombies find a way to climb eventually.
And then Jimmy or whoever is like, leave me. My life, it won't be for nothing. My sacrifice will give you time to escape. And,
And then you get
they're like, okay, Jimmy. They're like, okay, Jimmy, thanks. And then they get in the vents, and Jimmy's like, shoots as many as he can before they eat them. And then they keep coming, and they're like, oh, Jimmy's sacrifice actually was in vain. The last plan has failed. Zombies are guilt. That's what zombies are. like many monsters, they're really just embodiments of guilt.
Well, I mean, they're already dead. And that's another reason why I like slow zombies more than the fast zombies, because the slow zombies are already dead. Yeah, I mean, let's not get into conventional Buddha, but yeah, brain. Back to, actually, I just really reading back to my brain logic again. Hit them in the head, folks. It's always the simple solution. The slow zombies are just more tankier than you expect.
Actually, was muted us for the arrival part.
Actually, that's what I should have said in the first place. Slow zombies they don't know how to walk, and they're just basically, they don't know how to feel pain. And the fast zombies know how to feel pain, but they're just reacting on total adrenaline at that point.
And 4 silver are those alphas.
Well, you're just having a party, aren't you?
So, Jonas.
No. Yes.
Hey, yo, you tried that Grimace shake yet?
What?
Did you not see the Grimace milkshake from McDonald's?
I don't. I mean, I hardly ever eat fast food anymore, so no, I didn't. Notice
okay.
it.
Now, the weird thing about that is that I don't think McDonald's has been pushing their mascots for at least a decade now, have they?
Yeah,
No, I don't think so.
They
that's
just
funny.
do that out of nowhere. Like, okay.
I remember in the '80s when they would, in the '80s and '90s, they would put so much like effort and like money into making this whole like narrative, like here's
Hey,
Ronald.
Rabio's Hood.
Nice. Oh, Link Between Worlds.
Wearing it increases your sideways climbing speed.
That makes
Interesting.
okay.
That's funny. It's because in that game, Link would flatten into this like two-dimensional sort of like painting-looking thing that would travel sideways along walls.
Yeah. What else was I gonna say? Oh, Game Jam.
Oh yeah, Game Jam.
10 days or so.
Not ready.
I was trying to
Never
set up
ready.
meetings earlier today.
I know. Well, it's set, right? We're gonna do that, right?
I think.
Okay,
I'm gonna try.
it's fine.
Ray says, I like how smug Plush West looks. Like,
Yeah, I'm big, as soft, as squishy. That's right.
The real question is Plush West machine washable?
Yeah.
Then the real question is, does he enjoy it or does he hate it?
It's a jacuzzi.
Oh, there you go. Oh my god, that would be such a cute picture.
but he specifically needs you to have a top loading washer. If you have a side loading washer, that becomes much more uncomfortable. Spinning round and round and round like a tilt-a-whirl is nice. Spinning over top like a roller coaster loop over and over, not as fun. Man, this is one of the places in the depths There's like 2 or 3 like this that just have me scratching my head. Because it's clearly a very specifically designed area, and yet there's nothing here, really.
Maybe there's something that you have to trigger somewhere else in a corresponding location.
This is
I've
not the
done
treasure
all
I'm
of the
looking
side
for.
quests.
Hey,
Treasure
maybe
I'm
it's
looking for is
DLC.
down here.
It could be.
Tough Canyon Mine.
You can't see it, but you can DLC it. Oh, okay.
The Cap of the Hero. Which is
Complete with hair.
Zelda 1 set.
Yeah.
God,
my
Back when Link had
God.
brown hair.
that's right.
Brown hair, and he wore a very short skirt.
And he was kind of a dick. Excuse me, princess.
Excuse me, princess.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna go
princess.
bomb some dodongos.
I'm
I'll
saying Gen
just
X
shoot.
thing.
He's
Go
gonna
ahead.
shoot sword beams all over the place. That's his thing.
Hmm.
Like a jerk.
That was very much a Gen X thing to have like a smart
Throws
ass
down a
quippy girl.
bomb, and then shield sleds off the bomb, predicting this game like 30 years ago.
Nice.
And Cap of Hero.
You look just like him.
Which hairstyle?
I was always fond of the classic one, but
I'm a nostalgia nerd, so go. I usually go with the classic.
Tunic of Time, Tunic of the Wind, Tunic of the Sky.
good.
And also pants. But you know,
And the
classic Link doesn't quite look correct carrying a arsenal on his back like that.
Yeah. In the very first game, did he even have pants? I don't think he did.
No, he wore a very short skirt. If you get the trousers of the hero, that's all it is. It's just a
Yeah.
skirt and some boots. Beastlight says Sky and Dark are the same model, I think? I don't think so. No, Dark would be of Time, because that's Shadow Link from Ocarina of Time.
Is every incarnation of Link a different hero of something? Like, do they all have...
I mean, they kind of just they named the armor pieces here after the sort of subtitle of the game, right?
Mm.
So Ocarina of Time had the Hero of Time.
Right.
Wind Waker had the Hero of
Hero
Wind.
Right.
Skyward Sword had the Hero of Sky. It's just the way for them to be like, this one's this one. The only one I think that's been named is, I think, Hero of Time has been mentioned in another game that wasn't Breath of the Wild. Or maybe it was Breath of the Wild.
I feel like they used that title in Wind Waker. But it wasn't... It was in the
Maybe.
prologue, I think.
You might be right, because Wind Waker also had a lot of things that tied into Ocarina of Time.
Right. So was Twilight Link the hero of Twilight?
I think in this game it's called Hero of Dusk.
Hero of Dusk, nice.
Flodo's Neon says, Miller, explain the Zelda timeline right now. Let me go get my Hyrule story off the shelf. Because I do have that book.
You actually have Hyrule Story?
Oh yeah, I've got all 3 of those
Wow.
books.
You're a big nerd.
I got those for Christmas,
Oh,
like 3 years ago.
nice. Well, if someone else gifted it to you, then I can't be judgmental.
I mean, I specifically asked for them, you know. Mother was just like, can you just send me an Amazon link for whatever you want for Christmas? And I'm like, this. And they're like, okay.
I mean, at this point, it's easier just to say there's a Zelda multiverse, you know?
The
All of the
Zeltiverse.
a Zelda multiverse.
I
All
don't
of
know
these.
if that's true, but
Well, I mean, it's it's the easiest explanation, right? These are all just these timelines coexist.
maybe. I still think the timeline is okay as long as you can concede that the gap in time between when the end of the three split timelines happens and when the start of like the 10,000 years before Breath of the Wild happens, the gap between those two is so big that the timelines converge because all the differences sort of wash out.
Okay. I mean, I
Like
got no horse in
that's
that
the one
race.
you need to think of is like, no, the timelines converge because like the differences stop mattering after a point, and it's all the same timeline again. Jonas decided we needed to be a Zonai, and then Rick immediately took a picture of it. Even he appreciates it. Ah, you're in another grove. Get attacked by trees.
Not the train.
The sword of the hero.
Oh. Man, we're just getting a lot of
A
throwbacks.
legendary weapon.
Take it when going alone would otherwise be dangerous.
I just saw that and I'm like,
Ha
wow.
ha ha.
Oh, hey, Chad, if I made a Crew sticker pack, what memes from the stream would you want to see there? For example, me going, clip it, Boxer. Don't actually clip it, Boxer.
Too late, he's gonna do it.
I think I said that the one I get memed on all the time is Babby Miller.
A Squishalope sticker.
Boxer wants a Squishalope sticker.
But that would require us, like, actually drawing the Squishalope.
Well, you could draw it as something that's not,
Yes.
But
a
it's
polymorph.
unknowable,
Yeah.
undecipherable.
Oh,
Its
yes,
form is incapable
You just have
for the
this
human
big
mind to
shadow that's
comprehend.
looming over everybody.
Any
Perfect.
file, it's just GC. Yeah.
Okay, Talnuva, that's not a meme from this stream. That's a meme from. Talnuva says, "Can we just talk? Can we just take a minute to talk about?"
The correct quote is, "Can we just take a moment to appreciate blank, blank, blank."
Squishalope
Right.
yoinks.
Stoker and Peter Griffin death pose being Bob.
That's funny. Or Stoker's been Yamcha with a bonk. Hammer or
Yeah, we
something.
need Stoker with a bunch of bops on him, and the name for the sticker is like, "Why are you bopping me? I'm right."
Although I like how Yamcha is a verb, and I know exactly what you mean.
I still gotta say, I can't believe Yamcha gets this kind of thing in this day and age, because he's a cool character, but yes, I get why it happens. You'll never let the Cyberman out of his sight anymore.
And we're off into the dark, dark unknown of the depths.
On the bright side, even Yamcha recognizes the Yamcha death pose, so it works for a circle now. Which is amazing, and I love it.
Light route is way up.
Tom does become self-aware of his meme status. Now that's a career resurrection, folks.
Nice.
I'm getting a little concerned about your battery. If it's gonna make it all the way.
It's fine.
Things said 15 seconds before disaster. Maybe. Maybe. See? You got it. I knew you could do it. Never doubted you for a second.
You got it.
Hmm. I see.
Hmm.
Right there.
You can just barely see it on the map. A
On
tiny little bit of
Tingle
red poking
Island.
through. Kulilimpo.
God.
That doesn't tell us anything.
Mm.
Okay.
You gonna go dive into Tingle's hole?
Yes.
I wonder how many man hours just went into like all of the textures and modeling and normal maps and bump maps and specularity and who knows what else. Like with something like this, you can't really you can't skimp on detail. You're going to be right. It's going to be standing right all over everything. Like if you took every texture in this game and just stretched it out into one big texture file, I wonder how many like gigapixels it would be.
Pretty big. Pretty big.
Miller, what's the rule? Like, if isn't it like if the game resolution is 4K, then you have to make all the textures like 8K or something like that.
There's not really like a hard and fast rule to it.
Oh, okay. I thought I read
It
that
always
somewhere.
depends on what kind of goals you're going for. Something like this, where you have to fit it onto the little SD cards that a Switch game comes on.
No, that's
Like,
true.
there's definitely going to be more restrictions for certain things.
They probably compressed it some way.
Oh, of course.
So we just said midnight.
Yeah. But
They've
I'm just like-
compressed it, and I'm sure there's a lot of like reusing stuff. Like, you don't need every single clip face to have a different
right.
rock texture.
Oh,
right. You
yeah.
can use the same one everywhere
Yeah.
and have different ways to sort of like modify it or add new stuff to it.
Right. I'm sure they're just transforming and masking a whole bunch of stuff to tessellate it without actually looking like it's tessellating.
Mm-hmm. Dialyzing also helps them not need to be super high quality. Yeah, that's the thing that Nintendo has definitely leaned on. They're just like, we don't need to have super high power consoles, and we don't need to have the most realistic graphics. Like, yeah, you can see that's different for like Xbox and PS4 games, right? Every Gears of War had to look more realistic. You had to see more hair follicles on those chunks of meat men that were in those games.
Meat man.
And the PlayStation, you look at like the Uncharted series, every single one of those had to look more realistic than the last one.
It definitely looks like the rocks and walls are like actually simpler polymeshes with like complicated bump maps. Just when you
Yeah.
you don't notice it when you're playing, but just sitting there watching it, scrutinizing it, does kind of look that way. It's just really good.
Polygon complexities are much more costly than shader
Yeah.
complexities, so you can add a lot of stuff in the shader that gives things more detail, even though like these rocks that we see here, like looking at them, they might be like 10 polygons and that's it.
Yeah, like I'm looking. If you look at the transition points, you can kind of see that some of the outlines are kind of simple.
Mm-hmm.
Experience ruined. It's not. The magic is gone. Game over.
User wins.
User wins. Game over. User wins. No, but I'm just kind of noting this because like figuring out all the different little shortcuts is really interesting.
Your blade broke.
All that charging up for one hit.
It was a spectacular hit, though. Or just didn't like the ass maybe. A hit! A very powerful hit.
Dan Paul says simpler ground polygons also make for less janky physics interactions. True.
I think part of it for me is because, when I was a kid, video games were just Atari blocks, and seeing the evolution of these things and the particular direction things have taken, both in terms of limitations and breaking through such limitations is really interesting to analyze.
I remember when I was a kid, I didn't know anything about video game design. All I thought was just a bunch of, well, actually, I shouldn't even say it because I didn't really have a concept of it back then. I thought, they came from Japan. That's all I knew, and they put all these people in a box, and you control it with your joystick. You're a monster, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Muppets will not be happy with you. But
True. I'm sure they won't be happy.
When I was
I-
young, I thought they created video games in the same way you write a book, where you really just sit down with like pencil and paper and write something out, and then the video game appears from that.
I had like a vague child level understanding of code early on because mom got me Enter magazine and they had like basic, like literal basic programs written in BASIC that you could input and play around. Really simple stuff.
Okay, I get, Jonas, I get they were basic, but what was the language you used?
Thank you. Yeah. Who's on first?
One of my earliest memories was my dad getting a home PC. That was like when I was 4, so...
Nice.
It was DOS, so I pretty quickly grasped that video games are made the same way that you put commands into the computer.
I think I mentioned this, but there was my earliest memory, very earliest memory of a computer was my mother got like a computer that had a detective game on it that had really no context in it whatsoever, other than you were just moving around and investigating. I'm not sure what that game was, but it was like at that time. All I knew was that up, down, left, and right were the only controls you had in a computer back then, and I was just memorized by like what kind of thing I'm doing here when I was a kid. Like, how did they get this stuff in a box?
There were early ones. Do you see early controllers? I think for
Yay.
like the Magnavox or whatever, where there wasn't even a directional control. It was just a knob, like a spinning knob.
Yeah, I figured these guys would show up.
Well, now you have the full wind set.
You are now a kitsune.
Oh yeah, we are after midnight. Let's see who we can raid. What about Slush?
Oh, it's actually working.
We haven't done Slush in a while, have we?
Oh
They
yeah.
are playing Ocarina of Time.
Oh, now Phantom Game.
Wait, did we lose somebody?
Now it's
Without
Frederick.
Frederick.
Oh, okay. That's right, Kieran. There was he had the TV overlay because the games were so limited that you didn't have room for like on-screen instructions or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know how I knew how I learned this, but I still remember the Commodore 8,1 command. Oh yeah, it was run space colon name of the game colon comma 8,1. I still can't believe I remember that. But I don't remember how we knew that back then, or what it even meant.
I vaguely remember some of the Apple II commands, like cat. There was like catalog, and then there was regular run, and there was brun, which was run a binary executable.
Mr. Microspy says there's a Phantom Hourglass set ? Well, so Link wears the same thing in Phantom Hourglass that he did in Wind Waker, so technically that counts as the same set. But there is the Phantom set
Yeah,
that Zelda inhabits during that
yeah,
game.
the Phantom armor.
That's cool.
Yep. All right. Thanks everyone for coming out.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It was a
The
pleasure,
sky has been conquered.
Yes.
and so
Only a
happy.
few more surface shrines remain.
Yeah. We
Getting
will,
close.
we will
Getting
Super
there.
powerful.
see
though.
you next time. I need to
Sounds
refresh.
All right.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye bye
everybody.
everyone.